"What have you packed? It's so heavy," Frank grunted as he lifted my white and blue wheeled bag from the boot of the car. Believe me, I had tried to take an Uber, but he'd insisted on driving me to the airport. We hugged urgently in the drop-off zone. I pressed the knob on my bag's handle to release it, but the mechanism was jammed. "Here, let me," Frank offered. "I can do it," I said, frantically pushing the button. "You'll break it. I've got it." The handle suddenly thwanged up. "See?" I bent forward to kiss Frank on the cheek, just as he stepped backwards to make space for a woman with a pram. Text me when you arrive, will you? Or just, I'll let you know when I land." "See you on the other side," he said, hugging me. "I love you. I hope you find what you need." I squeezed his hand and tilted my bag onto its wheels in the direction of the Jetstar self-check-in. "Joe," I turned around. Something in his face read differently, even though I had not been gone more than a few seconds. "I don't want you to ever not feel—" I waited. Free. I couldn't meet his eyes. "I may not know what fatherhood has taught me, but I know what I've learned from being married." I looked down at my unpainted toenails in the only pair of sandals I was taking with me. "I don't want you to feel like you're in captivity." When I looked up, his eyes were brimming. My heart bounced. How long had he known my secret? Chapter 1. 2 Reasons I Didn't Say No. I should probably have texted Frank this morning to let him know I'm spending the night out in the wild, and that despite everything, I love him. You never can tell when the last time will be that you'll get to say the things you need to say to the people you have to say them to. "I know, Frank." He would respond immediately. "Are you sure? Remember what happened last time?" I'm not the outdoorsy type. That's the version of me he's familiar with anyway. But that's so last century me, because here I am, strapped to a way heavier than it looked backpack, bringing up the rear of this procession and clueless about what I've signed up for, except there is talk of a ritual when we get there, wherever there is. Come to think of it, he'd probably have taken my text as a cue and called me. He'd want more details. So who are these women again? And what would I say? That I knew 2 of them when the kids were little, but that the rest are strangers? He'd be silent, analysing whether I've done my due diligence. Was the threat of bushfires real, what with the drought and all? Or had I finally gone full tilt screaming mad and made off into the wilderness to die or something? Which is not a bad way to go, all things considered. Then he'd inquire, "How's the eye?" And there it would be in his voice, relief that my visual migraines, which shatter vision in my left eye for a few panic-inducing minutes, seem to have stopped, so we know it's not brain cancer. "See, I make you sick," he'd joke, and I'd have to laugh. "Don't be silly." Then he'd slip in the probe, the one he'd been patiently holding back on, like that Detective Columbo with his killer question. "So where exactly are you walking? Is it a recognized trail? Does it have a name?" And he'd have Google mapped it by the time we said goodbye. There'd be too many I don't knows for his liking. And weirdness, like the fact that we're walking in silence. But that's Fiona's call, not mine, and why I agreed to be here in the first place. You can go your whole life trying to be seen by others, talking the hind legs off a donkey, as my mother often says, of the needlessly garrulous. But finally, it's just the quiet that lets you be yourself. I take the silence as a sign that I'm meant to be here, since I cannot siphon another ounce of myself to anyone. I've barely scraped what's left in the wake of 2 decades of motherhood into a neat little pile by the door, and I'm shielding it like I've seen mother elephants do with their calves. 24 hours of no talking would just freak Frank out. Yes, it's better that he knows less.